no one else can tell you what's right for your home. It's yours, and it's your family's. So what I really want you to know here is that you can make right choices yourself. Good so far? All right, let's talk about how to make that happen. Hey there, welcome back to Mid-Mod Remodel. This is the show about updating MCM homes, helping you match a mid-century home to your modern life. I'm your host, Della Hansman, architect and mid-century ranch enthusiast. You're listening to Season 8, Episode 1. I hope you've been having a good start to 2022. It's been a minute since we did that rapid-fire 25 days of design in December, and I've put that time to such fun use by pulling together the Mid-Century Kitchen Clinic, a live kitchen planning update workshop that happened last Saturday. For everyone who was there, thank you so much for making it so much fun. If you missed it, well, we missed you too. I certainly want to do this again because everyone got a lot out of going through the design exercises and the kitchen update examples together in real time. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but here's some good news. The workshop was recorded and will become a bonus module of the Ready to Remodel program. You can watch it on demand and go through the exercises in your own time, and then follow up with your kitchen questions during our live office hours remodel coaching calls, which happen every other Monday when Ready to Remodel is in session. We're going to be reopening Ready to Remodel at the end of this month. So if you're interested in getting access to the kitchen workshop, the step-by-step action guide to planning your remodel with a master plan from start to finish, live bi-weekly remodel advice, and being a part of the active community of enthusiastic mid-century remodelers, I hope we'll see you inside of Ready to Remodel this March. Be the first to know when we reopen the program by signing up at midmod-midwest.com/waitlist. All right, on to today's topic. The concept of making material choices for your home is something that definitely came up in the kitchen clinic this weekend. And we didn't have as much time to go through it as I'd wanted. There's only so much you can pack into 2 hours. So today I'm going to dive a little deeper. I want to talk about the process of making good choices for your home and how you can feel confident about the choices you make for yourself. As always, if you want to follow up on what we're discussing here, you'll find show notes on my website at midmod-midwest.com/801. All right. At the end of the day, no one else can tell you what's right for your home. It's for you and your family. So I really want you to know that you can make good choices for yourself. I want to use the example of choosing a tile for somewhere in your home remodel. Last week, I saw an Instagram post with some stunning mid-century tile, and I'm always on the hunt for great choices, both out of personal interest and to share with my one-to-one design clients. So I reposted it. That initial repost turned into a story highlighting a bunch of different types of tile and suppliers that might be good for a mid-century home. When we're looking for mid-century materials for our homes, we often have to look a little bit outside the box of conventional material suppliers. Your average remodel does a lot of things out of a local supply shop or even a Home Depot or a Lowe's. We may not find things that are appropriate for a mid-century house that are going to complement it, that are going to make the most of it, that are going to feel that are going to protect us from feeling dated in 5 or 10 years' time if we don't choose a little bit outside of the box. So making careful choices about material selection is really important. It's fun to think about what will work best, not just for your house, but for you as well. So I did a little crowdsourcing. I shared the ones I knew off the top of my head, and then I got some great additions to the tile list sent in by alert followers of @MidmodMidwest. By the way, I have now pulled all of those tile suppliers together into an Instagram guide, so you can get that in the show notes at midmod-midwest.com/801, or you can just go to my Instagram page and go to the guides section. Here's where, though, I'll ask you a little bit about yourself. How do you make choices? It's helpful to know this about yourself as you go into a remodel process. Now, perhaps the most useful thing for you is to see a long list of possibilities and be able to scroll past them and say, no, no, maybe, yes, no, yes. But for a lot of us, getting an information dump like this, a long list of potential ideas, can be overwhelming. I've talked a lot before about how it's helpful to narrow your selected choices down to a few so that you can kind of Goldilocks your way into the exact right choice for you and then feel confident about it. This removes some of the visual clutter from your decision-making process. And we're talking about this with tile, but this is true for absolutely anything, whether you're choosing a faucet, a wood floor material, or a layout for your house. Now, I'm pretty decisive, but I know this comes up constantly for my clients, and that's why step one of making good choices for your home remodel is to get yourself into the right ballpark. And I have a tool for that. Within the term mid-century, there is so much included. So I encourage you to take this 3-minute mid-century style quiz to narrow down where you fall in your personal style choices on the spectrum from vintage museum quality. I'm thinking of a specific Instagram account, Uniquely Rochelle's, which is they live in a mid-century house. The woman who runs it is a professional ballerina, and she loves to dress in mid-century clothes and to her hair in mid-century style. They are living the life, at least on Instagram, of a perfect vintage maximalist. On the other hand, you might actually have a fairly conventional home lifestyle, very modern, not too different from the contemporary styles that you would see happening in a new build today, but you love a few of the design details of mid-century. And if that's true, then you're still within the big tent of mid-century design. But where do you fall on that spectrum? So there's an easy way to do this for yourself. There isn't a right answer or wrong one. Just go to midmod-midwest.com/style quiz, or there's a link in the show notes, and take the quiz. It only takes 3 minutes. If you're not driving right now and you don't have your hands full of dishwater, go do it while you're listening. You can look at pictures and make choices while you listen to me chat. If not, do it at a later date, but go to my Instagram and let me know what you got, or send an email to me. I would love to know what your answer is to the style quiz question. By the way, when you complete the quiz, I'll send you a free guide that will give you a little bit of a head start with your style, where to go on Pinterest, what to think about in terms of online resources, and just how to get yourself started as you plan your mid-century remodel for your own taste. Knowing where you fall in that range can help you navigate the world of mid-century design here on the internet. It can help you easily identify how you fall in comparison to someone else. So when you're following their example, whether that's someone you meet in person or the owner of your local vintage shop or someone you follow online, you can decide whether you want to basically take every word of their advice exactly, or just have a look at their ideas for good cross-pollination ideas. So, one thing I want you to make sure you get out of this is that your choices are yours, and there isn't a right or wrong answer, but there is a right answer for you. Once you know where you fall on that list, we can then focus and narrow down that guide. And in fact, I've sorted it from sort of most vintage to most contemporary. All of these tiles, I think, are appropriate in some way for a mid-century update, but if you follow along that spectrum, you'll sort of see how some of them are truly vintage. This could have been found in the house when it was built. You are recreating something, all the way through. This isn't really anything that could have been done in the mid-century era, but it feels adjacent in color, in shape, in theme to something that might have been beloved by someone from the mid-century design period. Knowing where you fall on that spectrum is invaluable to A, going into the direction of the internet that will get you what you want, and B, feeling confident about what you have chosen as you go forward. Let's talk about a few of those specific tile companies that you might want to check into. For example, if you are looking to recreate something from the mid-century era, then probably your best choice for fully vintage tile is the B&W Tile Company. They create those perfect 4-square tiles with the nosing strips and even the little detail elements that you can use to put together a perfect vintage pink bathroom. This is all in on preservationist or restorationist thinking. There are other choices that sort of lean in with that style. You can actually make up some vintage style mosaics with, say, Mod Walls tile, or even by going with a more conventional, broad-ranging company like Doll Tile, you can put together a vintage style mosaic. If you fall more in the middle of the preservationist to contemporary with a taste of mid-century, my own personal style is more of a fusion of those two. And for those, you can get the fun 60s mod shapes and color schemes from a variety of sources. So I would definitely go to, say, Sonoma Tile Makers for some great mid-century shapes. I also really like Clay House Tile. They do traditional squares, but with interesting textures applied to them that are really fun to look at. There's also a lot of fun to be had in basically any color with perfect mid-century shapes from mid-century mosaics. They and also Heath Ceramics specialize in hand glazing the tiles so that each individual tile has a slightly different color tone while all falling with the same family. This isn't something that was as common during the mid-century era, but it works perfectly with that vibe, and it can create a sort of a modern fusion on that look. For a vintage-inspired but modern take using the shapes and colors of the mid-century era is to go with fire clay tile, and they have hexagons and mysterious trapezoids that you can pull together into amazing color patterns and shapes. Each of these accounts I've mentioned is well worth a follow. You can see the work that designers and homeowners have been doing with these great materials to create both vintage and modern interpretations of what are the possibilities of tile. But then there's the other end of the spectrum, the more contemporary modern with a hint of mid-century. And there are a lot of possibilities in there too. For example, there are some really fun things happening with cement tile that are referencing the mid-century era. I really love Zia tile for this. And also I just came across, while we were doing this crowdsourced list, Concrete Collaborative, and they do really stunning color, shape, and patterns that reference the mid-century era, but to my eye don't look like something that would have happened then. Instead, they look like something for someone who loves mid-century style. There's a few more that I wanted to mention that didn't make this list yet, but you'll find them in the Instagram guide. Check out Nemo Tile for some beautiful hand glazing details on simple tile shapes, and amazing color work that you can put together into patterns of your own choosing for your mid-century heart's desire from Pratt and Larson. I would be remiss mentioning Make It Mid-Century, who now make their own tile, and they have both plain and patterns with mid-century flair that you can add to your home, both in detail or overall. Again, you can get this guide at my Instagram at MidModMidwest, or just go to the show notes link. Now that we've established that your house is for you, your choices are yours, I really want to talk about the flip side, which is that after you've made confident choices, I want to see you be able to stand by them. I just ran across another sad story of a great design process that ended up falling apart in construction of an architect, a friend of a friend, who'd gone through a lovely design process with their clients to create quite a mid-century style update for their mid-century era home. They'd gone through all their design processes, and the client really loved their results, and all of the drawings were drawn up, permitted, and completed in every detail. Unfortunately, then the client decided that their best choice to build this project was to go with a friend of their father, an older gentleman with a lot of decisive opinions and no interest whatsoever in mid-century style. He immediately began to change design details, pushing back both verbally with the clients and then just starting to make autonomous decisions of his own that erased some of the carefully created choices the client and architect had made together. It's especially frustrating because this is exactly what the traditional architectural model is supposed to prevent. Sometimes it can end up getting sabotaged if there's a lot of pushback from the contractor and either the architect or the client isn't able to stand by the choices that were made during the design process. Don't despair. I tell you this story not because this is unavoidable and will happen to you, but so that you can guard yourself against it. Because with a little time and energy and a commitment to your own choices, you can confidently make your own design decisions and then work with a contractor or DIY your own projects in a way that matches the final result to your taste and choices. The best way I know to make that happen is with a master plan approach. You not only think about what layout changes you want to change and maintenance updates you need to make on the house, but you think about the cohesive style choices you want to make, matching each individual choice of tile, faucet, door replacement to your overall style guide so that you end up with a house that feels cleanly, coherently designed to you now and in the future. And in the ideal version, it feels closely enough related to the original era of the house that it never really goes out of style. It always feels like it's friendly to what the house was meant to be in the first place. Going through the master plan process takes time, but it leads to such rewarding results because it gives you the confidence about the choices you make. It's not just a random, I walked into a tile store and liked that tile kind of a choice, which honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. That kind of gut decision can be really powerful, and if you have it, you should trust it. But I think knowing that there was a rationale behind your designs, knowing that you've narrowed down your choices, focused your wants, and identified your personal style that works both for your house and for you, leads you to have the confidence you need to stand by your choices as you go through the process of making your remodel a reality. If you know someone who's been struggling with making remodeling decisions and you think they could use some help and advice, send them this episode. It can be overwhelming to make each individual material choice in a remodel, but you can streamline the effort by selecting not only from mid-century friendly choices, but by identifying within mid-century what your personal MCM style is. And you can get started on that process by taking the easy 3-minute style quiz on my website. Have you taken it yet? I want to know what your style is. Then you can start deciding. I can't wait to see what great choices you make for your home. If you need a little more help than a style quiz in getting your mid-century remodel started, there's 2 ways I can help. Get great remodel coaching and a step-by-step process to plan your own remodel within the Ready to Remodel program. We're going to be launching again at the end of the month. Or apply to work one-on-one to plan your remodel with MidMod Midwest. Head over to the show notes, midmod-midwest.com/801 to grab the link to the style quiz and that list of kitchen tile suppliers that I think you will love, and to get an outline of what we've covered in this episode. Next week on the MidMod Remodel podcast, we're going to be talking about easy ways to learn more about mid-century design history, both for practical reasons, so you can make great choices for your home, and just for fun. I'll see you then, MidMod Remodelers.